Hey you all, what is up? I hope you all are doing great. This is Sakshi and I heartily welcome you all to Books with Sakshi. In today's video, I'm going to talk about some books that really made me cry. I've actually made a list because there are chances that I may miss out on any great book, and so I did not want that to happen. So I've actually listed out around 9 to 10 books which are really emotional and they definitely made me cry. And the very first book is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and I don't think that this book needs any kind of an introduction. Almost every person is aware about it because of the movie adaptation, and then the Bollywood also has a remake of The Fault in Our Stars, which was like Dil Bechara. Especially, you should read this book if you love reading about love, romance, tragedy. I personally love reading books about tragedy, not because I'm a sadist, but because I feel a deeper connection with such kind of books. So personally, I always look for these kind of books. Next book we have is The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. Now, people who know me, they already know that Khalid Hosseini is my favorite author, and how can I miss out on his books? So my next recommendation would be The Kite Runner, which also has a movie adaptation now on Amazon Prime. I have read the book and then I have watched the movie as well. When I got to know that okay, there's a movie as well, and the book is actually a historical fiction, I would say. There is not that much of history, but yes, it is about the history of Afghanistan. I'm pretty sure that you people must have heard of this book as well. It is so beautifully penned down. It is a story about two friends, Amir and Hassan, and what exactly is the relation you will discover in this book, and it's completely going to shock you. Their friendship and their brotherhood is definitely going to make you cry. It's about guilt, it's about friendship, it's about redemption, and the way Khalid Hosseini writes, it's something very mesmerizing. I'm going to leave all the links in the description below of all the books which I'm discussing. If I've reviewed them, you're going to find all the links in the description below. The next book which we have is Goat Days, which is written by Benjamin. Now, this is that book which I found in my college library, and I had no idea about this book. The cover is just so attractive that it just caught my attention back then, and I got it for myself. And I finished it in just 4 or 5 days. Now, this book, I have not seen a lot of people reading or talking about it. I have seen some people reading some other books by Benjamin, but I have not seen this book specifically. So this book is about a man named Najib who actually goes to, I guess, Riyadh. Not goes, but he's actually taken there, and this story is about that how he's actually trapped there, how he becomes a slave of the people there, and how he's being treated. It's more of a story of death and survival because Najib doesn't want to stay there because uh he was actually kind of cheated, and it's really 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 emotional, and it will definitely make you cry. The way the author has described the pain, the helplessness, and everything of the main protagonist is something which will definitely break your heart. So I highly recommend you to read this book. It is very simple to read, but definitely it has an engaging narration, and it's so impactful that you will just not be able to put this book down. Another book which we have is Tuesdays with Maury, which is written by Mitch Albom. Now, this again is a very hyped, a highly recommended book all over the Instagram, and so because of that reason only, I got it for myself recently and I finished reading it. So, this book is not a fiction, it's a non fiction, but it is inspired by real life uh, person. This book is about author's Professor Mori. There's actually complete name given, but I only remember Mori. And he was actually about to die, and whatever he teaches to the author, everything is there in this book. Like there are 14 Tuesdays. That is why the title of this book is Tuesdays with Mori. There are 14 Tuesdays when the author spends time with his Professor Mori, and they talk about almost everything. They talk about love, life, death, money, feeling sorry about ourselves, and forgiveness, and so many things. I would say almost everything they talk about in just 14 Tuesdays. So the reason why this book made me cry was it almost felt like a journey. It did not feel like a non-fiction. It really felt like that I'm reading about someone who is very close to me, and because of that only, I cried, because the book actually starts with the revelation of the professor who is diagnosed with some disease and he's going to die very soon. So throughout this book it felt like a journey to me, and it is very beautifully explained in this book. Like almost everything is beautifully penned down in this book, and this is again my highly recommended book to all the people who love reading such kind of books. This is a non-fiction, but it will literally not feel like a non-fiction to you. It's very short and magical, I would say. And after this, I really plan to read other books by the same author. Another book which we have is Train to Pakistan, which is written by Khushwant Singh, and it is set in the backdrop of 1947. And for those of you who have not read this book is again a classic book. It's a classic fiction, and this book I would say has disappointed some people because the ending is ambiguous. The ending is something which is not open for interpretation, but it is something which not everyone was able to guess. So I was one of them who could not actually understand the ending of it, but then there is movie adaptation of this book which I've watched on YouTube. So in that movie you will actually see what exactly happened in the ending. And also, not movie, but as soon as I finished this book, I was very curious to know about the ending, like what exactly happened. So I actually searched it on Google, like what is the ending of Train to Pakistan, and I got the ending. So I guess because of this reason, so many people were disappointed with this book, but definitely this book is worth reading. It has got so many emotional scenes, and but I would say the language of this book is quite difficult. The narration is not something which is engaging throughout this book. As it's a classic novel, I won't say that this book is going to interest everyone. Another book which we have is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Backman. I read this book and I did not like this book. I've already reviewed this book and I'm going to leave the link in the description. And so this was again a very highly recommended book all over the Instagram. And I would say that if you really connect with this book since the beginning of it, this book is definitely going to make you cry. Even for me, it was emotional like here and there, but I won't say the ending actually made me cry because of so many reasons. I've actually talked in my review. Because of so many reasons like language, there was no connection which I felt with the book. I could not really feel connected with it, so the ending did not make me cry as well. But I've heard great reviews about this book, and some of the people, or I would say most of the people who have read this book, they have liked this book. But it was my very personal review and I did not like it. So but with that being said, I'm not saying that the book is not great. You can definitely try. It is one of those books which people will definitely recommend you when you ask them for the books that can make you cry. Next book which we have is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Seni again, and I read this recently. The Kite Runner and A Thousand Splendid Suns I read in 2020 only, and I loved it. This book definitely did not make me cry at the end, but it made me cry here and there because the ending of this book is really inspiring. So like there is nothing to cry over that ending, but definitely there are so many heartbreaking scenarios in this book that's completely going to shatter your heart. The ending of his books is definitely something to take inspiration from, and this is a story about Lala and Mariam, and whatever they go through is something you will take inspiration from. It is again set in the backdrop of Afghanistan, and it's definitely going to make you feel that whatever your problems are, they are literally nothing in front of what people actually out there face. So again, this is something which will shatter your heart for a while, but will definitely give you so much of inspiration, and I highly recommend you to read this book. Next book which we have is A Walk to Remember, which is written by Nicola Sparks. I've already reviewed this book here, so you can go and you can check out. Link is going to be in the description below. And I would say that if you have read The Fault in Our Stars and then you plan to read this book, This book will not come as a surprise to you, and I've seen a lot of reviews about this book, and that was the reason why I got this book for myself. But I would say the book disappointed me because this book was actually released before, I guess, the Fault in Our Stars was released. But I have read the Fault in Our Stars, so I was already aware about the basic theme, like love and then tragedy, and that's it. So the same happens in this book as well, and because of that, to be honest, it was nothing new or extraordinary for me. So I did not cry because I was already aware about that theme, and I have watched something similar stuff. So last but not the least, the book is You Are the Best Wife by Ajay K. Pandey, and I have read all his books except two books which are newly released. I have read all his books, like 4 to 5 or 4 books, and they all are amazing. But this has to be my most favorite book because it is so emotional. It is his real life story. It is about his wife, and it has all the fun, drama, and everything in the beginning. But as the book proceeds, it's definitely going to break your heart. It's going to make you cry. And when something is actually like real life inspired, I guess the emotions are more solid and real when they are on the paper. So I guess because of that reason, everything is just so beautifully penned down that I could not stop myself from crying. I read this book a long time back, but I still recommend this book to everyone. So if you're looking for something emotional and from an Indian author, this is the book that you should be reading. And if you have read this book, you can read other books which I have recommended you in this video. That's it, and this was for today. And all the books, remember, all the books which I have talked about in this video, they are the books which I have read. Definitely there are so many books which are emotional, and they are definitely going to make you cry, but these are the only books which I've read and they are emotional. Like, I've read other books as well, but out of all those books, these are the books which actually made me cry, so I just shared them with you all. In the comments, you can let me know the book which actually made you cry. I would really like to check that book out. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and also follow me on my Instagram at @books with Sakshi. If you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.